Network's Big Debate. Now, if you live in places like Bolton, Leicester, Glasgow and Wimbledon, did you notice hundreds of Muslims cleaning up their neighbourhoods on New Year's Day? It was all part of a mass clean-up organised by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association. And that's not the only thing they did over the festive period. Over Christmas, the group also helped elderly and those who are vulnerable, who can often be at risk just in terms of safety, but also lonely over what can be a very, very difficult time. I've got three of them with me here. I've got Farooq Aftab, who's the National Vice President of Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association. I've got Ansar Bajwa, who's the Director for Department for Work and Voluntary Labour. That's a fantastic title, isn't it? And we've got Sarfraz Mustafa, who's a youth member. Hello.
Hi.
He's very shy. Thank you very much for coming in. That's quite something, isn't it, to go out on New Year's Day and start to clean up your neighbourhoods, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, over the festive period when people are, enjoying the festivities, we've done this. We've done more than 2,000 visits just before Christmas and on New Year's Day as well, visiting the old, the elderly. We had a special Christmas Day initiative in Yorkshire where taxi service was provided to 100 elderly people, and the whole day was spent with them. So as a part of the extended family. And, the real reason is that because our motivation is our religion, which teaches us to be good and kind to people.
Yeah. Ansar, how did you go about organising this? Did you all sort of work out, OK, we know the people who are elderly in our respective cities and all of that, and we're going to try and target them more and help them? Or was there some other group that was involved that was saying these are the people that need a bit of help and support?
So, being an auxiliary within the Ahmadiyya Muslim within the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association, we have just in the UK 124 chapters, branches. Mm-hmm. Then they're spread over 17 regions as well. Mm-hmm. Now we usually liaise with the regional coordinators, who then organize these within their locality. And considering that we had, the New Year session and all the other sessions across the whole country with the support of the regions and the coordinations coming from the centre.
So you're able to work out who may need help and support. What sort of reaction did you get from the people that you were helping? Were they surprised? Were they overwhelmed? Grateful?
I mean, of course,
this is Sarfraz.
Working with the elderly is, above all else, a great pleasure for our youth. And, specifically talking about the taxi service that was offered to over 100 senior members of society, transporting them to various halls for their Christmas dinners, the organisations that we work with, because we do work with different organisations, they're pleased because they're getting a helping hand in this period where, everyone's busy with their own family celebrations. So, the organisations are happy and we're happy to work with them. And the elderly, of course, as you said, loneliness is a big issue during this period. And it's great for them to have some youth come in and to help them out. And, in line with that, we hold a number of care home visits, where young kids come along as young as the age of 5 and 6, and they give flowers, roses to the elderly, and, it just brightens up their day. And it's something that we love to do, it's about alleviating the hardship of people around you. That's a core teaching of Islam. And for us, it's a great pleasure. For the youth, it's a great pleasure. And it's a civic duty that they're doing, and it's important to teach this at a young age.
Fantastic work. Farooq, and then there was also the cleaning up that I've mentioned as well. What did you do there? Did you sort of say, OK, this bit here is a bit of an eyesore, we need to target that, or how did it work?
Well, it's a New Year's clean-up initiative which we did throughout the UK. I think Ansar's probably best placed because that's his department.
OK, Ansar, your department.
I'll let him explain it in detail.
Because Ansar's the Director of the Department for Work and Voluntary Labour. That's amazing. You should have a badge, say.
It's an honour to be the director for this department, because the passion amongst the members that you see when they come
for voluntary labour.
So how did you actually target the places, and what happened? You gave them all a broom, or everybody brings their own broom, a shovel, or black bin bags, or?
So usually how it happens, we give the overall coordinations to the regions and the individual chapters that we have across the country, and they then approach their local councils to find out the individual spots that
need a bit of
cleanup. So again, considering that support, they in return give us the litter pickers, and some of the individual branches, they source them out themselves as well. So again, with those arrangements, they come out on the New Year's Day. They start the morning with the prayers for their families and for Britain itself, and then they come out to do their individual sessions and have all together a breakfast as well after the session, which is a template.
It's a bit of a reward, isn't it?
Exactly.
For that hard work. So what happens? Is it over across a number of hours, or just really blitz for about 1 hour?
An average of 2 to 3 hours, depending on the location. So the bigger locations did take them almost 3.5 hours, actually. Yes, yeah.
So how does it work so far? Do you ask people to volunteer, put their hands up, and say, "Can you help out?" Or do you have to say, "Come on, you got to do the right thing here"? So like twist people's arm to get them involved.
So essentially, look, we have local chapters, and that's a massive asset for us. We have local leaders who are enthusiastic and passionate about their work, and above all else, they understand the importance of what they're doing. They're portraying the message of Islam whilst also helping the local communities. So a message goes out to them, and then a message goes out to the youth, and whoever is willing, whoever has the time, whoever can wake up that early in the morning, because let's be honest,
that's a bit of a challenge in itself.
That is a massive challenge, and that's their small jihad for the day, waking up for their morning prayers, having a nice halwa puri breakfast, followed by going out and litter picking. So it's completely optional. And so, for example, where I live in Southfields, we had 50 youth come out.
Which is in South London.
Southwest London.
Southwest London.
We had 50 youth come, and they came at around 6 a.m. for prayer.
6
a.m.
That's fantastic.
After that, they had breakfast, and straight after that, we had a small briefing. We got into pairs, and we went out and started just, either leaves or garbage or whatever. We just went around picking up litter.
Do people come up to you and say, "Well, what are you doing?"
I'll be honest, at that time, there's not many people
around.
on New Year's,
and those
morning.
that are around at that time are too bleary-eyed to notice. They just want to get home.
But, then again, it's not for the recognition that it's done. I mean, it's more about, even what we're doing today, it's about getting the message out about the good that Muslims do, the good that a British, these are young British Muslims. It's just stuff that they're doing is part of what they feel is, is part of being British. It's part of being Muslim.
And Farouk, is that message getting across? Do you think people sort of like say, "Hey, these guys are Muslims," or do they just say, "Look, there's some brown people sweeping up the streets"?
It's certainly helping, and with the festive period, it seems like the press have been in a good festive mood as well this year, which has picked up. So I think definitely the more messaging we can get out, it helps to break down barriers.
And why? I mean, I can understand that you're doing it because it's a really good thing to do, the cleaning up and the helping elderly and vulnerable people. But are you doing it because it's what you guys do, that's what you're all about anyway, or is it because that there is this so much negativity around Muslims and you want to try and challenge that, or is it a bit of both?
Well, I think our motivation is simply our religion, Islam, which is clearly misunderstood today. And, it's a religion of peace. It teaches you to integrate. We've been here for over 100 years, one of the oldest Muslim communities. And, we haven't had any issues of radicalisation, extremism. And we want to show that British Muslims are loyal to their country and just like other people. And I think by doing these initiatives, we help to break down those barriers and misconceptions. And the more we can do, the better it will be for our society.
Mm-hmm. And so overall, what was the reaction? Farouk said that the media seemed to really like it. So, there was good coverage. And I know I saw some good coverage. We covered it, as well on the BBC.
I mean, going out to the bigger locations myself in the morning, I've realised whilst the members or the boys were doing the cleanup and we were engaged as well. We had a few people in the bigger cities on our high streets approaching us, taking pictures, being very happy to see that there are young members of the community supporting or cleaning up the streets. Then I was approached myself a few times as well, and they just were curious to know what's happening. And we also have, as mentioned earlier, the coordinators from the council who then explain and make them understand that this is the community, and they help us out with the cleanup. Again, overall, a very positive approach by the individuals who actually see the members working out there.
Sarfraz, in a sense, it's sort of effective on a number of fronts, isn't it? Because some people have a downer on young people, you know, that young people are obsessed with social media, obsessed about themselves, are vain, you know, not interested in helping other people. So there's a result on that front, a tick to sort of say, actually, young people do a lot of good and, you know, good works and are well-intentioned, but also about Muslims as well. So it's almost like a win-win, isn't it, all round?
Yeah, no, it is. You know, it's a great initiative that, as you said, it has many impacts in different areas of society, and it tackles a lot of hard-hitting topics these days. And you're right, you know, some people are not as, you know, they don't understand the youth, or they may feel that they're not as engaged, say, in that maybe because of social media or whatever other reasons. But yeah, these activities to get the youth out onto the streets, helping other people, you know, these are important. And it's not only important for people, but it's important for the youth as well. So they, you know, they have that hands-on engagement and understanding more. You know, and these activities, they help a lot in helping the youth be more, take the initiative. So for example, on Christmas Day, you know, one of our chapters in Wimbledon Park, they raised money, they pulled money together, and they organised like a gourmet homeless feeding. And, you know, they made chicken curry, lamb curry, they did a roast, they did salad and dessert, and they took this all out into central London, put a little gazebo up, and they stayed there for a good few hours just serving food to whoever wanted it. And, you know, this is something that they've done 2 or 3 times. So it's about helping the youth take the initiative. And it's working. It's going good so far.
I love the idea of the gourmet. The gourmet bit. That's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who decides what should be cooked and served up?
I mean, it was the decision of the youth. We go homeless feeding throughout the year. You know, around 15,000 people have been fed over the past year by our members. And during that time, you know, the response that I got from the local chapter was, they go homeless feeding. There's a lot of people that do it. But the response has been sometimes from those that are homeless. You know, at the end of the day, they're people too. They deserve the respect, the dignity. They've said that, look, you know, you bring us some things, everyone's bringing that. Can't you just... Maybe they said it in a joke, but they said, can't you just spice it up a bit, you know, bring us something special, give us a good curry. And what they did after that, they reacted straight away. They raised money, pulled it together. They cooked it themselves for 5 hours. It took them to cook that much food. Wow. You know, it's a big feast. And their men, the young boys, learning how to cook, they're cooking together, and then they're packaging it, they're getting youth to donate their vans, they're taking it into London, and they're feeding the homeless.
Yeah, so you heard from Sarfraz there, and also earlier from Farouk and Ansar, and they're from the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth that over the Christmas and New Year period were involved in clean-up, along with lots of other members of their organisation, in many of our towns and cities across the country, but also helping in ferrying lonely and vulnerable elderly people and taking them to wherever they wanted or needed to be on New Year's Day. Farouk, it went really well, you're saying, and you've been doing this for a while, but you're going to step it up. Is that right?
Yes, I think with each...
If you come a bit closer to the mic.
With each year, we're improving and increasing our presence, and this year the initiative was bigger. Hopefully next year will be bigger as well. We'll get more people involved as well, and we have a number of different initiatives which we do throughout the year, like fundraising, charity fundraising as well, and there are a number of projects which are coming up which we hope a lot of the British public will be involved in.
And what sort of...
So we've got a big Mercy for Mankind charity challenge, which is named after the Prophet of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because he was a mercy for mankind. And this basically is about raising money for British charities like Save the Children, Barnardo's, Great Ormond Street, and we've got on 8th of July an event in Sheffield, a full marathon and a raft race. We're aiming to raise more than 700,000 for British charities. And again, this is all run by volunteers.
Okay, I don't like the marathon bit, but I like the raft race idea.
The raft race
I might get involved in that. Yeah. The marathon sounds like too much hard work.
Well, you could do a 3K or a 5K as well. I mean, the raft race is a new initiative, and which you actually make your own boat with barrels, and then you race.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Fantastic stuff there. That's Farouk, and we heard from Ansar and Sarfraz as well. And they're all members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association who are doing good works over Christmas and New Year.